All right, thank you for joining this session. Let me begin with my introduction. My name is Gaurav Negi, and I'm the country manager for East African countries, which includes Ghana, Kenya, and Botswana. I welcome on board all the esteemed guests today for this webinar. And this webinar basically is focused towards the digital transformation in Ghana, the digital strategies which we can use, and the edtech tools which we can use to digitally transform in Ghana country. So we have the key highlights of this webinar before we proceed further. We have few questions around. We have a specific agenda to this webinar wherein we'll have to highlight few points, which let me explain for you. The very first point is, what are the essential aspects of digital transformation in education in Ghana country? Then we have, what is the role that can technology play in helping the institution develop and accredit in the future? Next is, why is now the right time for your institution to implement digital strategies? Which cost-effective edtech tools can institutions use to accelerate their growth? And last but not the least is, how do edtech tools streamline all the operations, that is admissions, enrollments, and many more. So to start off, let me share my screen so that you can see my screen too. I hope my screen is visible and clear to everyone. Digital transformation in Ghana, digital strategy and edtech tools, very essential. So we'll start off with the present education pattern in Ghana. So we can see that we have a specific education pattern which is being followed in Ghana. So Ghana operates on a 6-3-4-4 system, which is basically a 6 year of primary education, followed by 3 year of junior high school, which is a middle level education. Then we have 3 years of senior high school, which is a secondary level education. Then we have the 6 years of post-secondary school level, which has got professional health sciences. Then we have tertiary educations for 2 years, which includes diplomas and certificates. We have tertiary education for 3 years, again, which is for higher national diploma teacher and nursing trainings. Then we have the tertiary educations for bachelor's program, which has been done after the diploma, which is again for 4 years, followed by the master's for 1 or 2 years, followed by the tertiary of the final education of PhD for 2 more years. Let us move to the next slide. Aspects of digital transformations. What are the essential aspects? So business agility, resiliency, and the productivity are the most important factors, irrespective of its size, which determines the success of an organization, which determines the success of an institution. So there's a report of McKinsey that 20 to 50% of the transformations which has been done in recent years after the post-COVID has actually grown up, and due to this transformation, all the digital activities have actually gone into the success closures, and this aspect of digital transformation has streamlined the things in the proper way. It is not only to increase the profits, but it is up there to increase the adaptation too. So to start with the aspects of digital transformation, first of all, we should all have the clear vision, because we need to have a focus on definable results, which is very, very critical today. A clear vision is very, very important and a critical part and a critical aspect when it relates to the top management. We should have a clear vision before we start off with anything. So this aspect is very important and critical. Following through with dedicated time and money translates the rhetoric into reality. We need the resources also. Once we have the clear vision, we need to understand that we need to have the resources also. Resources can be in terms of manpower, it can be in terms of technological solutions. So all these things includes resources. So we need to see that the resources are also very, very important and critical at the same point of time to adapt the technology and to support to your clear vision to accomplish your goals. Resources can be of different types. For example, if I take an example of an institution, when we talk about the manual works and when we talk about the technical works, so there is a huge difference. So what is the difference in that? When you do the manual tasking, you have several resources in terms of manpower, in terms of man hours, those you incur in that. But when we talk about the online processes, you have the limited resources, so basic difference between the manual activity and the online activities is to reduce your manpower, is to reduce your time, and to reduce your costs, which is very, very important. So we need to transfer the ownership of, to change the initiatives from initial stakeholders to create that inclusion. Next is the people. When we talk about people, we need a large set of people, large set of manpower when we do this transformation. And when we talk about the manual processes and the online processes, obviously, and of course, there is a redundancy and the reduction of man on the grounds. So we need a technological solution which will help you in reducing your cost, in saving your time, which will result in better transformation. And then we need to provide the slack for new learnings to boost up the psychological safety for those changing environment. And of course, the important point is the space which we need to adapt, and the space will come only when we will adapt the transformation technological solutions which will allow us to adapt and reach the defined result as an institution. There is a question in front of all today that what is the flow of digital infrastructure for a development of an institute? So when we talk about this, we all are aware today that we need to fit the pieces together to get this digital infrastructure in place. We have the accessibility. So first of all, a leadership, the top management of an institution would want to understand about the accessibility part. So we need to bring the accessibility part into the picture. We need to make people accessible in terms of technology so that everyone can everyone can align onto the same page, which will result in getting the outputs. Now, to increase this accessibility in all the stakeholders, we need devices. Obviously, we are in the world of technology today, and digital transformation is a very critical aspect. We would need the Internet of Things, the devices to accompany, the devices to support your accessibility. That would result in getting more number of things done in a shorter time period. So when we talk about the student information system aspects, we need to understand that the accessibility plus the devices plus the connectivity plus the resources would lead to a final decision, would lead to the final aspect of completing the digital infrastructure development of an institute. Here, we would like to give you an example of an institution wherein there is a manual task and there is an institution which has got the online mode of communication. So let's assume that in a manual sort of process in an institution, so institution A and institution B, two institutions are there. One institution has applied a process which is a manual process. When we see about the manual processes, we come to know that there are large number of people who are involved in the processes. So first of all, it gives a message that there are many number of people who are there who are doing the same task. Second, at the same time, you will come to know that the number of admissions which this manual process school has is much lower than the number of students of the admissions of the number of students which a college or institution who has got the automated process has a more number of admissions. What is the difference between this manual and the technically solution problem is there? So when we talk about this, we need to understand that we need to have this process flow. We need to have this technical sort of things readily available in our institution so that we can reduce the cost, we can address the problems properly, and in turn, which will bring the more adaptability. So we see that the institution B, which has got all the type of systems in place, catered more number of admissions just because of the technology, just because of the solutions which they had. They need not to go into the outer space to generate the inquiries. They generate the inquiries through the system. They do the campaigning through the system, and these all things, the fee management, the fee structures, all those things can be managed in a single software, which basically allows all the stakeholders to land on the same page. With the minimal efforts, they get more number of admissions. And this is how the whole structure of fitting the pieces together comes into the picture, and it leads to the whole success. We have a very good question at this point of time in this webinar today, which is about the digital infrastructure. So let me put this question in front of all the guests in this webinar today. This is in regards to the digital infrastructure, whether it is a need or it is a marketing strategy. Let me tell you, a marketing strategy is a process which is an objective based process, wherein once the objective has been sorted out, the marketing strategy plans are stopped. But when we talk about a need is something which is very, very important and critical, because need can lead to an innovation. Need can lead to adapt a new technology. So that's why there's a question which arises today, whether this is a need or a marketing strategy. But when we go in deep dive of this topic, we'll have to all realize that this is basically a need and it's not a marketing strategy, because this is not an objective based thing which is done for some time and gets stopped. So we need to reduce the costs, we need to increase the competitiveness, and you'll come to know that to increase the competitiveness, we'll have to bring the technology into the picture so that all the stakeholders like teachers, parents, guardians, applicants, system admins, everyone is landing on the same page and they have one system to work on. So we need to see that there are certain manual processes which have been followed in the institutions today. And to eradicate those, we need to have the system, which is a robust system, which should have all the functionalities at the same point of time, which can be handled at the same point of time, and which can increase the competitiveness, which will result in reducing your costs. When I talk about reducing your costs, we'll have to agree on this point that when we do the manual task, we need to align many more people into the same tasks. There is a redundancy of data. But when we use a technology, when we use a solution, we have less number of people, which reduce our costs and which would increase our benefits, which would increase the adaptability. At the same point, it improves the user experience also. Let me take a small example that 10 years back, when we were talking about the institution, we were collecting the fees in terms of receipts and payments in terms of vouchers. And if I talk about not about 10 years back also, if I talk about just 2 to 3 years back, wherein we all faced an unprecedented situation of COVID-19, wherein all the things were closed down, we should understand that at that point of time, it was very difficult for an institution to collect the fee. The old traditional practices were like a parent has to go to the institution to fill the fee, and they have to, fill the vouchers. They need to pay in cash, or they need to at least go in bank to submit their fee and get the receipts. But at the same time, when the technology is used in terms of SIS, student information system, or the solution which can provide you a technology wherein a parent need not to go to their institution physically, but they just can opt in. They can just go into the web portal and then can pay the fee.
To help you out with the tentative pricing. Yeah.
Pardon?
Thank you. Yes.
Is there anything for us?
No, Gaurav, I think there was some disturbance. You can continue.
Oh, all right. Thanks. Thank you for the confirmation. So I was talking about the improved user experience. So in that ways, I was trying to, accommodate that the situation which we were facing just two and a half years back in the unprecedented situation of COVID, wherein people were facing problems in paying the fee itself, and due to which the institution had to take tough decisions. So when we talk about the digital infrastructure, we need to create this technology. We need to place this technology in such a way that we get a solution, a robust solution, a configurable solution, which helps you in accommodating all your problems, which helps you in sorting out all your pain areas in one go, with the help of one single solutions, with the help of different user roles which is available. And at the same time, when we use this technology, there is an increase of agility, which I would like to talk. Agility is a very critical word in today's world, because we are residing in the world of technology, and being agile is very, very important for everyone today. So why not being agile in developing our digital infrastructure also? So let me tell you this, that we need to increase the agility also, and this digital infrastructure would really, really help us in defining these things and increase our speed at a rapid way, so that we can just create a digital transformation in higher education institutions. What are the key highlights of an effective tool or a student information system solution? To back up all those activities which I was talking to you, we need to have an effective tool. We need to have an effective and a robust student information system, a solution which basically target all your pain areas, which sorts out all your pain areas, which I was readily talking about. To start off, we need to cut costs by automating routine tasks. So let me again take the example of the institution which has got the manual works. When we talk about an institution who has got the manual works, they need to do daily routine tasks which are performed by many individuals at the same time. There is a dependency of one individual to another individual, due to which there is a lack of communication. And this lack of communication basically increases the manpower. And when this manpower is increased, it certainly impacts on your increase of costs. But at the same time, if your solution is effective, if your solution is a one-go solution for all your stakeholders, we will cut all the costs. And I would reiterate this word that we will not cut it, but we will optimize this cost so that you can automate your all routine tasks, which will lead in reducing the costs. Next is like the instant integration and use. So today, in the era of technology, we know that we have several other things to carry on, like library management system. We have our own websites to see on, to look after. We have the email and other supports solutions. So a robust solution, an effective tool should have an instant integration facility with all other third-party softwares, with all other open source softwares, which can integrate and accommodate into it and should act like a full package solution for your institution. To improve the efficiency of staff, obviously, an effective tool will obviously improve the efficiency of staff, because a technical solution which we will have on place would really give a best experience to all your stakeholders, which would really improve the efficiency in terms of minimal staff. A specific staff will be allocated specific roles and specific user rights, which he would be facilitating, and due to which you will have the control of all the users, all the rights, so that you can control at any point of time which user is associated with which type of roles, and this is how you can improve the efficiency of staff. You can increase or measure office productivity too. So to measure this office productivity, you have several tools which is inbounded in the effective student information system, which will give you a focus, which will increase and which will tell you the measurement, which will give you a parameter also to understand the productivity, whether we are going into the right track or not. To support this statement, I would like to add one more point here, that a best solution could have an analytic support, wherein you can just have the analytic support. You can view, your top management can view all the data, reports and records, facts and figures in a group, in a chat view, in a tabular format, which will give you a clear picture of the productivity part. It will again streamline the business operations and accounts too. So once you are automated, once the automation is done, it will obviously streamline all the operations, all the businesses, all the accounts in one place, so that you get the better transparency, better control in all over departments. Very important factor is like replacing the paper processes. I'll again go back when we were having the traditional processes in the schools and institutions, and in higher management, in fact, also, that we had to follow all the paper processes, wherein we might have seen that there was a specific room for just keeping all those papers. Even if a student has been passed out, we need to keep the records, old records, and one day we need to understand, we need to see that there is a huge repository of papers which is lying out there, and we are in a situation that we are in a situation wherein we cannot trash it, or we are not able to keep it too, which creates the confusion at every point. But when we talk about the technical solution, when we talk about the online solution, it will replace all your paper processes, because every manual task which we were performing today in manual activities will convert to the online activity, which will replace all your paper processes at one go. You will get the access to new features too, because when we are talking about manual interventions, there were no features to understand about. But when we when we have this effective tool, when we have this effective student information system solution in place, we'll be able to access new features. Let me tell 2 to 3 new features which we can adopt today. So for example, when we talk about transport management, today the institution can have vehicles to manage their students, their staff, to take them from home, to drop them to their home. Just to manage that, you can have this solution, the online solution, which is readily available, which will have the impact at a level of micro level also, wherein you will be able to capture the stops, you will be able to capture the vehicle number, you will be even able to capture the maintenance records of your vehicles. Next is the feature of the integration, the messaging, the communications. Because in manual interventions, you were not known that, the communications were not proper. But when we talk about an effective tool, we can say that there are different type of channels which are readily available to communicate with all the stakeholders. When we talk about the communication in a more effective way with all the stakeholders like teachers, students, and parents, in manual system, it was not that good, because when I talk about, let me take again an example wherein we were students and we used to go into the schools. There was no proper communication channel. The parents teachers meeting was supposed to be held in a month's time, in a quarterly mode. But now, with the help of this effective student information system, we can communicate very effectively, and all the stakeholders like teachers, students, and parents can communicate at the same stage, at the same point of time. And we have got this 4 or 5 communication channels today, like messaging, notifications, emails, and even WhatsApp integration, which is readily available today in an effective tool. Now to back up my statements which I have given earlier, this is what an essential module of an effective Edtech tool or a student information system looks like. So this is basically a campus management system which has been created. So here you can see that I was talking to you about setting of organization. I was talking to you about campaigning activities, the inquiry management. All those modules can be, you can find this in this module, in this bird eye view. So here you can see that we have listed few modules, which is like organizational setup, wherein you can set up your organization, you can set up your organization calendar. Then we have the campaigns and inquiries management, which is very, very important and critical when we talk about the campaigning activities. Obviously, when we talk about a nice institution, a very first constraint which comes in the institutions, the top management of an institution is to attract more and more number of admissions. And yes, this campaigns and inquiry management plays a vital role there. With the help of various media sources, newspapers, emails, social media activations, you can do your campaigns and inquiry managements on the go, and you can attract more number of admissions. When we talk about admission management, you can have all those admission schema. If you have the selection, if you want some selection processes to be carried out, if you want to bypass those selection processes, we have both the processes in place. We have this student information module, wherein you can manage the golden track record of your students, whether it is the old record which he was pertaining, whether it is the bona fide record which you want to keep the repository, you can keep all those records in this student information module. An essential module comes here is like programs and courses, because with an institution we can understand that as an institution has got different programs and different courses to run. And yes, of course, you can run different programs, you can define your programs, you can define your courses in that ways in this module. Then a very important module called fee management can be very important for an institution. As the name suggests, this fee management talks about fee. You can manage multiple fee modules. We can create your own fee plans. You can manage them, because we all know that a different programs carries a different fee management. So we can do that. If you want to have a scholarship and bursary management in place, you can use this dedicated module of scholarships and sponsorships. We have this module of homework and assignment, which is very, very important. If a teacher or a faculty wants to give the assignment to a student, they can do that. An effective tool should have the examinations and mark sheets also, so that you can take care of all your examination activities, whether it is pre-examination, it is on the day of examination, or it is on the post-examination. You want to generate the results, you want to generate the mark sheets, everything can be done with the help of this examination mark sheets module. Then you can have the completion management, because once the student has passed out or terminated or departed, or he is moved from one location to other location, all those data records and the repositories can be kept in completion management. Then we have this file management. File management better talks about the circulars which are being passed from the top management down the line. This system would enable you to track those files. Then we have the faculty and student portal, which is again very, very important, wherein we keep records of faculty and student. Then effective tool should have the employee management also, wherein it can take care of your internal employees. It should take care of your the leave management system of your employees, which is very, very important part. Then a tool should have the analytics and reports also. The analytics and reports in terms of the building output, the reporting output, which can be brought down by using the business intelligence with the help of graphs, charts, and tabular formats, which could actually help your institution, the leadership of your institution, to take the right decisions on right time. Then it should have the transport management also. The transport management, which the name itself speaks, that it talks about all the transportation which can be taken care of in terms of students, in terms of employees. The housing management, which basically talks about hostel management, because when there is a vision of having a very nice institution, we need to have such things also in place, wherein you will have to have the hostel facilities which can be provided to the students, and such type of modules would really, really help in taking care of your hostel activities. And last but not the least is the messaging and notifications, because an Edtech tool or a student information system which doesn't have the proper communication channel, we would consider that as an incomplete solution. So to make it a complete solution, it should be able to communicate with all the stakeholders, and it should have multiple channels of communications, which should include the messaging, emails, push notifications, bell icons, and even the WhatsApp integration. So as I was talking to you about all these activities, all these modules, all these changes which are very, very important in terms of digital transformation, you would be glad to know that in academia, we provide all these solutions at one go, all these solutions in all these modules in one plan package, wherein you can just opt in any dedicated module and can make a use of it, and which will actually lead you to accomplish your vision. So let's say hello to futuristic technology with academia SIS. So academia is the product in which we deal in, and the organization in which we deal is called Serosoft. We are from India, and as you can see in the slide that academia is by Serosoft. We have been powering more than 300 educational institutions today, which is spread across 21 countries. Obviously, spread across 3 continents today. And all the 300 clients are our happy clients. We would be glad to say that. When we talk about the highlights, few highlights of academia, we talk about configurability. So configurations are very, very important, because you need to manage your needs by having highly dynamic and configurable features. Academia is highly configurable in that ways. We'll be able to define the workflows, create your own documentation template in our system in the way the institution wants to look like. We'll be able to configure in that ways, because all the institution and every institution want to accommodate their own templates into the system so that they get that visibility, that viability to accomplish in that ways which they actually want to. So we would glad to say that academia is highly configurable, wherein you will be able to see in the way which you want to actually see it. Then I was obviously talking about the analytics and reporting, which is a very important part when we talk about the top management system, because the reports and records which we have in Excel and PDF formats are very limited, which are basically user specific sort of thing. And you'll be glad to know that we have more than 400 reports which are been backed up in academia, which is very, very important and critical to accomplish your vision. With the help of this analytics and reporting, you will be able to understand about the multiple center capabilities also, because we are amongst the few organizations who provide the multi-center capabilities also in one place. When I talk about the analytics and reporting, you will be able to see that if you have multiple centers, you can see the reports and records of multiple center in the chart view, in the tabular format, in one go, which will basically gain the valuable insights, and it will give you the overall health of various departments based on concrete data, which will help your top management to take a right decision and at right time. When we talk about interoperability, we would glad to share this, that we bring all our software on one platform. So when we talk about a web portal, if you have your own websites, you'll be glad to know that we'll be able to integrate your website with our academia. Your academia will be able to integrate with the SMS and email services also. When you talk about the Excel, yes, of course, you can update all your data with the help of Excel. There are specific templates which you can use and update. You can import and export all your data with the help of Excel formats. If you're using any payment gateway in terms of collecting the fees online, you'll be glad to know that we can integrate that API with academia, which will help you to collect the fees in the way you want. If you're using any LMS, which is learning management system like Moodle or Blackboard or any other software solution for your learning management system, you'll be glad to know again that it is highly integrable software which we have, and we would be integrating your LMS also along with your other things with academia. We have got this AI-based chatbot, which is readily available 24/7 to sort out your pain areas for all the stakeholders, in fact, whether it is the teachers, students, or the parents. Koha is again a very important thing, which is an open source library management system, which is very critical and important. We are integrating this software also with academia. If you are using any accounting software like Tally, SAP, Jira, you will be able to integrate this with our solution, academia. And RFID cards, biometrics can also be integrated. And last but not the least is the mobile application. So we provide the mobile application so that any stakeholders, whether it is student, whether it is parents, whether it is the teacher, everyone can use it from their place, anywhere, and at any point of time. To reiterate my important point, which I was talking about multi-center capability during my presentation in my previous slides, I would like to take you much deeper in this, that we have got this multi-center capabilities in academia. So what thus is basically looks like is, if you have an institution and you have multiple campuses, whether it is in your country or you have multiple campuses in other countries also, you will be glad to know that you will be able to operate, you will be able to manage all your centers, all your campuses from one single software solution which academia has to provide you. So you can manage your group of institutions also from one system, and that clearly says that you need not to purchase a different solution, different software solution, or a different student information system for your different campus. Instead, a single solution academia would be more than sufficient to handle all your group of institution in single go. This is in regards to the mobile application which I was talking earlier. So we have this mobile application which is readily available for all our stakeholders. So whether it is teachers, parents, or system administrators, top management, they can just access their data from the application itself, from the mobile application. They can download it in their mobile phone and they can access and manage all the data from anywhere and everywhere using the mobile application and web portals. Now, what is the advantage of academia? Let me tell you, academia is a robust and highly configurable solution. It has got high scalability. And when we have a vision of creating a very nice institution, there is a point and there are few changes which comes across during the different time intervals. So for example, there is a specific demand today, but at some point of time, maybe 6 months later, your demands get changed. You need to update your demands. So high scalability is very, very important so that you can update your demands, you can update your requirements as per your need, as per your requirement, and you will be glad to know that academia is a robust and high scalability solution wherein you will be able to accommodate all your requests at any point of time. When I talk about diverse reporting, as I told in my previous slides also, that academia has got more than 400 reports to accommodate, which will not only give you a better picture, but it will align your institution in a better way, because it will give you reports from different departments, different sub departments, and you will have a clear picture, a clear image of your institution in the form of reports and records, which will actually help you to take your institution at a new level, at a new height. Next is the superior flexibility. As I have mentioned in my previous talks also, that academia is super flexible solution wherein you'll be able to integrate all the other open source software also. We'll be able to give you the flexibility of the templates also. If you have any templates, if you have your own fee structure, if you have your own templates for payment sheet, if you have your own structures, templates for creating your mark sheets, nevertheless, you can give it to us. We'll be able to integrate it as per the way you want to look at it. And you'll be glad to know that we have our own templates also, several number of templates which we could help you in, and we can give it to you. You can just choose one of them as per your convenience and give it to us, and we will be inflexible to accommodate it in our software itself, and it will actually give you a look which you want to see it in. Now let me talk about my company. So we are from Serosoft Solutions Private Limited. This is the company which is behind academia. And when I talk about Serosoft, we are a leading educational IT software and solutions company based out in India. We are promoted by the dynamic team of erstwhile iBankers. And when I talk about my top management, they are the US graduates. And you'll be glad to know that we are the part of a very prestigious 50-year-old Hindustan group of companies, and the Serosoft Solution Private Limited is the 100% subsidiary to this Hindustan group. With this slide, I would like to thank you, each and every guest, each and every esteemed guest, the distinguished participants who have taken their time to join this webinar. And if you want to have any queries, if you have any queries, any questions, if you want to reach out to us, you can even write this into the chat pod, which is readily available onto the screen, or you can even mail it us on gaurav.negi@serosoft.in or info@serosoft.in, if you want to contact me, my number is being displayed onto this screen, which is +91 9200 244 444. And let's shake our hands. Let's shake our hands together and do this digital transformation in Ghana. I would request all the esteemed guests to mention their email IDs in the chat box, which is available into this webinar, so that we can share this the link, the documentation, the post documentation of this webinar, which will give you again a better understanding, a better view to see this solution. And of course, we need to share the certificates also to you, the participation certificate. So we need to send those things also. So I would like to request all the esteemed guests, all the esteemed participants to mention their email IDs, so that we can send the participation certificate onto their email IDs. And before we wind up for this webinar, I would like to have a short session for question and answers. So if you have any questions, any queries, you can ask us right away onto the chat board. Or even if you want to talk, if you want to ask something one-on-one, you can just unmute yourself and ask the question.
Hello.
Yeah, yes, please. Please go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Harriet. I want to ask a question.
Yes, please. Please go ahead.
Okay. I want to know how can the Edtech tool can impact or reflect in our education system after implementing it at a digital strategy.
Could you please come back?
Pardon?
You said something about impact. Could you please come back?
Okay. My question is, how can the Edtech tools can impact or reflect in our education system after implementing it as a digital strategies in our education system?
Well, first and foremost, thank you so much, Harriet, for asking this question to us. And we'd be very much happy enough to answer your query. Of course, the entire system would going to help your institute grow a lot, and it will going to give a good impact on the institution. And we'd like to, put up some points related to this. For this, we'll require your email address so that we can give you an overview as to how exactly this digital transformation from academia would going to help your institute make an impact in terms of more number of ROIs, in terms of increase in the number of new admissions, and many more. So we would be happy enough to show you the same, for which I request you to drop your mail address, and maybe we'll reach back to you with our details.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for asking this question. Any more questions?
Okay, so we have another question.
Yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hello.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Please go ahead.
Yes, my name is Ahmed from Oman. You know, I am working with UTAS University in Oman, and I was happy, to join your presentation today. It was very, useful and very nice, And for the SIS, and for the the Edu portals, we have educational portal there in our university. But the thing is that, we are also facing some of the difficulties. Today's technical difficulties, like, for example, the downtime of the internet, and which make it very hard, for the the streamlining of the I mean, of the, I mean, some of the SIS, systems. And for that one also, we are sometimes, inviting parents, to come to the university, for some of the sessions with their, I mean, with their students. And still, we don't have like, I mean, any specific, communication. System, with the parents, to just come across with to the university, place. So actually, for these things, what are the solutions that we can have, for better getting progress with this. Thanks.
First of all, thank you so much, Mr. Ahmed, for putting up this question in front of us. So, we do understand that this is genuinely a concern with some of the, institutions, especially post-COVID. In terms of communicating with your students, be assured, because academia as a product does support the communication channel within the school with the stakeholders, or rather I'll say the crucial stakeholders like students, teachers, and parents. So if at all you're finding it difficult to commute to school, well, in that case, the work won't be stopped. In fact, you can access academia at any point of time with your mobile device as well, and can plan the things accordingly for your students. In the similar sense, you can also communicate with your students using the mobile application. That's how this would going to solve your purpose. Mr. Ahmed, we'd appreciate if you can drop your mail address as well.
Yes,
So that
I have
maybe,
already dropped.
pardon
Yes,
me?
I have already dropped. Yes, I have already dropped my email.
I appreciate that, sir. Thank you so much for dropping the mail. We'll come back to you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks.
And there's another question that I can see on my screen. So I'd just like to reframe this question. It was being asked by Dade, and majorly the question was, how secure is the data provided by the schools on the platform, and is that data for the school or will be for Serosoft? So there's Dade, first and foremost, thank you so much for asking and writing this question on the chat box. What I'll do is I'll take the first part of the question, which majorly speaks about that how secure is the data which is being provided by the institutions and the schools to us. Well, Dade, you'd be very happy to know that in India, we are the only company who got GDPR compliant. So if I talk about this compliance, it certainly says that we cannot manipulate with any data which is being given to us by the schools or the institution. And at the same time, for us, keeping this database safe is the prime motive. So be assured, because whatever database you'd be handing over to us post a successful association, certainly it would be in the good hands, and at the same time would be taken care with utmost importance. The second part of the question that you asked, Dade, is, and is that data for the school or will be for Serosoft? So Dade, will have to understand this, that whatever database you are giving to us, that is your database, and you'd be the sole person who is the owner of that database. We as a company will only follow the implementation part, even though we'll ask for the database, but that database would be added in your software, and at the same time that software and those database, everything would be your property. So that's how this question is. Dave, would also appreciate if you can drop your mail address so that maybe somebody from our team can get back to you on this, and maybe we'll try to demonstrate you that how exactly or in detailed manner we can share some documents which we already kept in handy. We do have the white papers available with us, and certainly these papers will going to help you a lot in understanding the database protection right and policies that we have been practicing here in Salesforce. So I can see that Ms. Harriet recently raised her hand. So yes, Harriet, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. The question is,
I
as
beg your pardon,
education,
Harriet, I can't hear you. If you can be a bit louder, it would easy for us to understand.
okay, okay.
Yeah, please go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. Okay, as an educational system, how can we use the DTech to empower our staff or students to enjoy using the system?
Understood. So first thing first, there's a process which we follow here in Serasoft, and it's a very minimalistic process, Harriet. What exactly happens is, first, we'll feed up all the database of your students. We'll upload the database of the number of students who are studying in your institution. Then we'll add all the faculty members which are, teaching there in the campus. We'll be putting their details in. And in terms of creating the bridge, we have mobile application. So at the time of final admissions, we'll say that this login ID would be given to the student, to the faculty members, and of course they can browse their website, they can browse their mobile application, put on any comments if at all they have any, and of course it can be a vice versa process for both the parties, and it would be done in a great manner.
Okay.
Was my answer satisfactory?
Thank you for your answer.
Okay. And there's a additional question which was asked by Dave, that was how does your data protection work? And you registered with the data protection commission in Ghana. So Dave, I'd like to inform you that like I've already talked about this, that we'll be sharing the database of it. So you see how this data protection work happens, or how does it work in the international market. It is very simple for us to understand. There's a DPO, which is there's a custodian who is solely liable to check all the database related information which are coming in Serasoft. So the officer's role is basically to check that marginally if the data is being given to us with a time frame that we have to do a certain module implementation, maybe in 2 days or 3 days. So that officer will going to keep an eye that exactly how the database is being treated. So in that case, in that sense, because at the end of the day, there is a finalized report which needs to be prepared from our team, and it needs to be sent to the European market. And of course, from there on, we get this information. And from there on, if at all there is a fault which is being observed by those senior authorities, then God forbid, it's a very huge penalty which is being imposed on the company who is practicing this, which is of course approximately $86,000 million. So that's the cost. So the penalty is huge, and of course we as a company, we take it on our highest priority. Can we request a more detailed demonstration on the actual SIS and what is the cost? So Jade, that was the final comment coming in from your side. So we'd appreciate, and rather will say a special thanks for writing this in our chat bot. Certainly, we can have a detailed demonstration with you and your entire team. And I suppose you have already dropped your email address. So Jade, I'd like you to just put your email address on the chat box so that we can connect to you, and maybe we'll fix a detailed demonstration for you in the days to come. Okay, thank you so much for your prompt response. It's director@admin@acm.edu.gh. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Date. Give us some time. We'll reach back to you with a date and time. And of course, preferably we'll move on with the detailed demonstration for you and your entire team. Thank you, Date. Is there any other quick questions? Because we are ready to take 2 or 3 more questions, or
So to add on one more thing over here, I guess we need to share the certificates, also the participation certificates. And I guess we have only 13 email IDs which have come till now. And we have more than 30 participants who are available on this webinar at this point of time. So I would like to request all the other participants who have not shared their email ID, they can just share their email ID in the chat box, which will actually enable us to share the certificates. Any more questions from anybody? Certainly you can write in the chat board also, or you can reach to us via my email ID and my contact details. But do you have any other questions as of now? Please, you may write it, or you may unmute yourself and ask the question right away.
Okay, so seems that there are no questions because we have checked the chat bot as well. Nevertheless, it was great, and we, on behalf of Serosoft, would like to thank each and every one of the guests who has taken this time out, joined the webinar, gave us the opportunity to share our experience with the help of this small webinar that was conducted for Ghana. We are expecting to come up with new webinars maybe next month, and we'll keep in touch. Till then, I'd like to thank our presenter of the day, Mr. Gaurav Negi sir, who prepared the entire presentation and presented a wonderful presentation in front of our audience. Thank you so much, sir, for your efforts. And we'd also like to thank each and every one of you for joining with us to this webinar. Until next time, we still say that stay safe, do follow the norms and practice the norms which are prescribed by the government. And yes, we'll wish to see you probably next month. Till then, thank you so much and good evening.